Well, don't worry. We have a political party that understands that we are in a moment of rising fascism, that understands that we need to meet the moment, that Donald Trump and this assault by the Republican Party and this oligarchy is unique and in many ways unprecedented, at least in the past 100 years. Maybe not 100 years, let's say 80 or 90, right? Because there was an attempted March plot against FDR. At least we have that kind of democratic leader. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Hakeem Jeffries on with Stephen A. Smith, talking about how he sees the unique danger that is presented by the right. Oh, wait, no, actually, no.
Anybody worth their salt will tell you the extreme left had a lot to do with pulling y'all back from the momentum one would argue you had, obviously, in 2020. What about pushing back against your own party?
Pause it for a second. I want you to think about this.
What was that question?
That premise. Go back just a little bit so we can get that whole question. Don't come in the middle of a question. Let's always get the start of a question. Stephen A. Now, I just he's going to say, you had this momentum in 2020, and the extreme left did something over the past 4 years? Like, what did the extreme left do? If anything, the height of what Stephen A. Smith would call the extreme left's power was actually during the 2020 election, where Joe Biden had to respond to a BLM movement. And again, I wouldn't call this extreme left, but I'm saying from their perspective.
Right.
BLM movement, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, who were strong enough that they were able to put their own people in labor and in
Lena Khan, one of the last.
Antitrust. I mean, I don't know how else you would manage, it would even assess this, but that was the peak of the left, and everything changed, with Jeff Zients says you got further in, the extreme left, max left, whatever you want to call it, had less power.
It was when Biden said, "Hey, let's bring all these mansion and cinema."
6 months into to 2021.
Yeah.
But let's hear. I'm sure Hakeem Jeffries will push back on that.
In the Congress, in the courts, and in the community.
What about aggressively pushing back for the far left? Because they lost you the election. See, I'm thinking about winning. Representative Jeffries, I'm thinking about winning. I'm like, okay, the midterm is incredibly important. We got Musk, that some people think is running the damn country, and I'll get back to him in a second with some of the stuff that he's doing that you've alluded to earlier, right? But I'm also thinking about what lost you the election. I'm going to repeat. 77 million votes. He beat Kamala Harris by over 2.5 million votes. He won the Electoral College vote, the popular vote, all the swing states. I mean, he gave her a run for money in New York.
I'll pause it now. Listen, honestly, there is an argument that Harris should not have been out there campaigning, alongside the Marxist professors that she was, and these massive leaders of the left, like she did. Instead, she should have been campaigning with someone like, I don't know, Liz Cheney. Or Mark Cuban. But why not campaign with Mark Cuban? Why not make Mark Cuban a surrogate? Instead of, some radical professor, writing about communism. Right? Why not do that? Why not campaign with Mark Cuban and Liz Cheney?
Who because you're a basketball guy, right, Stephen A?
Go ahead.
Swing states. I mean, He gave her rough money in New
Or you know
York.
what you could have done is send Richie Torres to Michigan. Or Bill Clinton to Michigan. Send those people. Don't send,
Don't have Rashida Tlaib be a supporter.
yeah. Come on. I just care about winning. Go ahead.
Look, they gained ground in California. Anybody worth their salt will tell you the extreme left had a lot to do with pulling y'all back from the momentum one would argue you had, obviously, in 2020. What about pushing back against your own party?
Well, listen, the extreme left protest me more than they protest Donald Trump. Because literally, wherever I go. So I think in part because I've declined, I've refused, I've chosen not to bend the knee to either people on the far left and certainly not to Donald Trump and the far right. We all have a responsibility.
So wait, he must be right in the middle between Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if he's like, there, he's equally away from both. He must be right between Democrats and Republicans. Is he an independent?
He's got to be.
He's got to be an independent. I don't get it.
Right in the middle taking.
Why he should? That's honestly. We would be so much better if he declared being an independent. In fact, all the Democrats in the House should change their affiliation to being independent. That way, they're not associated with the Democratic Party. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just trying to bring out what Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is saying is when be associated with the left, you should be an independent.
Trump and the far right. We all have a responsibility to serve the people we were elected to represent and the country and the Constitution. Jeez. And I certainly have not been bashful and will not be bashful in disagreeing with people who are trying to take this country in a direction that doesn't lift everybody up, whether that comes from the right or whether that comes from the far left.
Pause it for a second. Okay, the far left. These far lefties who don't want to lift everybody up. Like, what is he talking about? Like the Brooklyn types? Right? Like Brooklyn types? He's got to represent his people, folks. He's not you Brooklyn podcaster types with your liberal. You show people where his district is, okay? Because the Brooklyn podcast, the Brooklyn lefty, extreme leftists, in like, what's that, the extreme lefty area of Brooklyn where they all hang out? Like, what is it, like Bushwick? Okay, let's look at, okay, yeah. All the extreme lefties in the, wait, what? Huh. What is that? What is that big chunk there? No, zoom in a little bit there for me. Huh, interesting. Part of that appears to be Brooklyn. In fact, what percentage would you say is that Brooklyn? All?
Yeah, I don't know if there's
100%. He's just representing his people, not the far left.
And his major donors, APEC, Lockheed Martin, and what's the other one? Was it BlackRock? Yeah.
Oh, well, Lockheed Martin, he's
no hipsters there.
He's got JFK Airport. Notice. Oh, that's interesting. Damn.
Man, Stephen A. Smith sucks too. I think people should be sparing.
Have people been like pushing him for something?
Well, he's doing a lot of politics stuff now, and he's getting some, interesting things out of Democrats, like this Hakeem Jeffries thing here, where he says he's fighting the left and the right, as people are upset with him for not fighting the right enough.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.